Mother Knows Death, starring Nicole and Jemmy and Maria QK.
Hi everyone, welcome to Mother Knows Death. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Jessica Simpson using snake sperm for her vocal cords, a Chick-fil-A employee who died in a freak accident moments after surviving another freak accident, a brain-eating infection, repositioning your ribs to get an hourglass figure, and more. Let's get started with Jessica Simpson.
So I guess she's releasing music for the first time since 2010, and she's been putting out like promotional videos to hype it up. And in one of the videos, she's seen drinking out of this like brown bottle with a yellow label, and she was saying that her band asked her what she was drinking. She said she didn't know, she just thought it was some Chinese medicine that her vocal coach told her to drink. And then when they Googled the ingredients on the bottle, they figured out it had snake sperm in it.
I don't think I believe this.
Yeah,
listen, like I have looked far and wide on the computer to see like where you could buy this stuff or if it has anything to do with any kind of elixirs or anything like that, and I can't find it anywhere. And it's just like, I don't even know if you remember this when you were because you were a kid when this happened, but do you remember when she had a show with her I guess it was her husband at
Nick
the time.
Lachey.
Yeah, and then there was that whole thing with the canned tuna and chicken of the sea. Do you remember all that? Have you heard about all that?
I know about it. I don't know the details off the top of my head.
I don't really know either, but it was something about like canned tuna being called chicken of the sea, and she didn't understand that it was tuna, and it was like this like dumb blonde moment, so to speak, that went viral at the time, that people just couldn't believe that she didn't know what this was. And I think this is like all her people getting together and just being like, we need another viral moment. And this, sure enough, is it. I just can't, not to say that it's impossible, but I'm just like, if this was actually a thing, you'd be able to find it like on Amazon or something, or anywhere where they sold it. I couldn't find any evidence that there was like some Chinese medicine or anything about this. But well, I mean, they have sperm. I guess you could put it in a bottle.
According to this article, snake sperm is not used in Chinese medicine. So I don't know if it's a lack of understanding. I Google reverse image the bottle. I didn't find anything similar to it at all.
See, you went a step further. I didn't even do that. But I'm looking at the liquid and it's brown. So if it is in there, not to say it couldn't be, but it also could just be mixed with it, I guess, if that was the case. I mean, there is an article I found of instructions on how to get sperm out of a snake, which was interesting.
Well,
you didn't have to touch its little penis either. You could just kind of squeeze it and get it out. But
I think she's trolling us, or it's a classic snake oil situation where it's just like this, totally fabricated, like elixir.
It's fabricated because the worst thing is, especially for this podcast, when you're trying to look stuff up, because you're just like, if I searched snake sperm 2 days ago or 3 days ago, maybe something would have came up. But now there's 10 pages of articles about Jessica Simpson. Like, that's all they want. They don't care if it sounds disgusting to be drinking it, or it's just like a completely made up story to get her back in the news again. And it worked, right?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely worked. I was going to ask you if this was a thing. Do you think this is part of this weird VIP treatment you're always talking about, that celebrities are just giving these like totally bizarre fabricated elixirs to help them with whatever ailment it is, when it's probably really just like molasses in a jar?
Exactly. And then they're just getting sold it because they just like fall for anything. I don't know. We did talk about, like, last year, it's something with salmon sperm. Remember that?
Well, that's in facials. A lot of people are getting it on, like, with spa treatments.
But wasn't there a thing with women that weren't getting sexual arousal anymore, and they were getting these like orgasm shots, and they were reporting stronger and more frequent orgasms?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's just like one of these things, like exactly what you're saying. It's like a celebrity thing, and it could totally, it's just like, at least when you look up salmon sperm or stuff like that, like the articles come up, it's just like nothing is coming up. It's not possible. It's just completely fabricated. But
I don't know.
what
I think she's
and also I'm just like, if you say something like that, like does Jessica Simpson have like the best voice ever that she? I don't recall. I thought she was like a pop star person that had like synthesized voice and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is just her like doing her, her dumb blonde shtick to get us talking about her, and it's working, and people seem pretty hype about the music that's coming out. So it's good. I mean, she's been in the press a lot for the last couple years, and it's mostly due to her appearance changes drastically. She had gained a lot of weight, then she had lost too much weight, and people are always talking shit about her. So maybe they were just like, we just need a light story to get her in the press and get people excited for what's coming up, because she has been getting crushed in the media for 20 plus years.
Imagine like sitting around at the table planning these like this. Okay, this is the next PR move. We're gonna say that you swallow snake sperm, and it's gonna go viral. Like, it's just because like these conversations happen for sure.
I'm always thinking about the conference room behind the scenes of like the dumbest shit we ever see. We were just talking about it with the road signs last week. Just I'm always thinking like at least 5 to 10 people had to approve this before it aired on television. So like think about this.
Oh my god.
Such a bad idea. All right, this next story is really crazy. So, on Saturday, this 67-year-old woman, she was either going to or leaving her job at Chick-fil-A. She was driving, at some point got in a car accident, which she survived, got out of the car, and then another freak thing occurred where she fell down this well that was hidden in the woods.
Yeah, that's what a freak story, man. And they find her car it was in a wooded area, like she went off the road as it was and survived the car crash. Could you just imagine like something like that going down? How terrifying, right? I guess she didn't have her phone with her or something, or maybe. I mean, I was in the Poconos this previous weekend, and there were lots of spots where I had no service on my phone. And I do wonder, you know how sometimes you have that button? I feel like I have an emergency button in my car. Like, would
Yeah.
that even work if you didn't have any cell phone service?
I think that the iPhones have this newish setting called like SOS mode.
Yeah, it's SOS, yeah.
So you don't have normal service, but in some way, I don't understand the logistics of how it works, but in some way you're able to contact emergency or alert people of a problem. So
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I think, I'm thinking she gets in this car accident. She has all this adrenaline trying to get out of the car. She literally just steps out of the car and falls right into this well. Like, it couldn't have been worse.
Yeah, and honestly, like if I was walking around in a wooded area, I wouldn't think that there was going to be a well that, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't even have thought about it.
No, and they said it was really well hidden with bushes. I'm kind of like, why is there just a well like dug into the grass like that? It's not like it was a cute little brick formation, the well we're typically used to seeing. It was just a giant hole in the ground, essentially.
Yeah, but listen, they're all over the place. Did you see in Jersey like last week, like these sinkholes and stuff with old mines? It's especially if you're in a wooded area like that, like it's totally possible.
Yeah. All right, so this next story was in Minnesota. So during a safety drill at a school, I guess this 6th grade class wasn't participating in this drill that was happening. And of course I'm thinking of Lillian, because she's this age.
Yeah, because Lillian's in 6th grade, and I know a lot of the kids in the class, and just thinking about how, especially boys of this age act, you could see that they're like, they're just playing around.
Yeah, so a bunch of the kids, instead of sitting like they should have, were lying on their stomach. And I guess their teacher was trying to make a point and yell at them, being like, I could easily step on you if you're laying on your stomach. And then they weren't listening. So to prove a point, he did step on one of the children. But the problem is this person is 350 pounds stepping on a 12-year-old child. And obviously that doesn't go over well.
Yeah, so I kind of saw the point when he was just like, look, like this is why you can't do this, because I could easily trip over you and stuff, and see a teacher even like put their foot up to the kid's body and just be like, look, like you're in my way right now. But you're 350 pounds and stood on a kid's back for 10 seconds. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like you just threw out your entire career for that. And Why would you even think that that would be appropriate at all? It's outrageous to me. But the kid obviously had to be taken to the hospital. He had injuries laying there like that. Lots of kids witnessed it, so it wasn't just like the kids making it up. So
No.
weird.
Yeah, he had to go to the hospital. His mom saying he's walking, this 12-year-old boy, he's walking around like he's an 80-year-old because his back hurts so badly. It's just definitely a questionable choice somebody would make. I agree with you. I understand why you might want to like put your foot up to a kid and be like, yo, I'm going to step on you. Take it seriously. But to like actually step on a child, the kid was saying it was like he was using him as a step stool.
He could have like killed this kid.
Yes. It's really concerning.
I mean, yeah, it's beyond concerning. I mean, sometimes like the kids are playing around on the floor and then like Lillian will be like, Lucia, walk on my back. And I'm like, no, because I don't even want her like 75-pound body standing on Lillian's little body like that. It's just not a good idea.
I don't
You shouldn't
think
be standing on someone's back like that ever. But like when you're of this size, you should be aware of that. That's a lot. It's intense, you know? Jesus.
teachers should never really be touching their
No,
students
they
at
shouldn't
all.
actually. That's a good point too.
Because, all right, the kid was laying on his stomach. He was probably being a little shit. It's not like he was like trying to actively hurt somebody and you had to restrain him.
No, not at all.
And it makes me worry about future decision making because I see he's on paid administrative leave while they investigate the situation. But according to this article, he's admitted to doing it and stepping on 2 other students. And the whole classroom witnessed this. So what is there really to investigate at this point?
I don't know. He's got to go.
No, I agree.
Guys, this episode is brought to you by us because we are celebrating our 1 million downloads. We are so thankful for you guys, and I can't believe that you guys have listened to us 1 million times. So to celebrate, we are doing a giveaway.
It's kind of crazy. Like, what's wrong with all of you? But we're trying to do a fun prize to celebrate the 1 million downloads. For this contest, we're giving away a skull-themed giant microbe, a signed copy of Nicole and Jemmy's anatomy book, and 1 free year of the Gross Room. And don't worry, if you're an existing Gross Room member, that will be applicable to you as well. We'll just tack it on your existing membership. So to enter the contest, you're going to either head over to Apple, leave us a 5-star written review, head over to Spotify and leave us a review, or head over to our YouTube channel and subscribe. You need to screenshot your subscription or your review and then email it to us at stories@motherknowsdeath.com.
Thanks, guys. All right, so I know that some of you guys are Gross Room members. For those of you who aren't, we actually did Mother Knows Death for a while before we even made our podcast public in the Gross Room. So we wanted to let you know that if you want to listen to old episodes of Stories in the News, you can head over to the Gross Room and listen to those. The reason I'm telling you that is because we covered a similar story about this next case. We're talking about a brain-eating amoeba infection. So, Ree, why don't you get into this story and then we could talk about the one that was from a couple years ago as well.
Yeah, so a family in Arkansas took their 16-month-old baby to a water park, and the baby was playing around in a splash pad. And then shortly after, he developed a fever, started vomiting, wouldn't eat, and could barely move. So they took him to the hospital, and he was admitted to the ICU. And what did doctors see there?
So they were able to give him a spinal tap and take out some cerebral spinal fluid, and they saw that he had this crazy infection of an amoeba infection. So a lot of the news articles are saying it's a bacterial infection, and it's different from a bacteria. It's an amoeba is a one-cell organism, and they most commonly are in fresh water. So a lot of times when you hear about these infections, it's because of somebody that was like swimming in a lake or something like that. And this one is so scary because of the water park, but there is an increased risk of this amoeba infection being present in places like that, especially on splash pads. Because if you think about when you go to a water park, it usually smells so bad because of the chlorine is so strong, and that would kill this kind of an infection. But the splash pads usually just have sprinkler water or something like that that's sitting there, and it's not treated with chlorine, or it has very low chlorine, and that is a perfect environment for this type of organism. So it's called Naegleria fowleri, and it's an amoeba infection, which is typically referred to as a brain-eating amoeba because it causes a brain infection that causes meningitis around the brain, which is inflammation of the membrane surrounding the brain, as well as it could actually eat away at brain tissue.
It's just really sad because, you think you're taking your kid to do this really fun thing, and then you trust that the place is taking care of everything. And apparently, this particular park was in violation of multiple codes and not properly treating these areas. And then, we didn't get to this part, but the baby ended up dying as a result of this. And it's really unfortunate that someone's negligence could lead to the death of an otherwise healthy child.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a very, very deadly infection. So fewer than 10 people a year in the United States get this. So it's super, super rare. And between 1962 and 2023, there have only been 164 reported cases of it. So that's a very long time. But of all of those cases reported, only 4 people have actually survived it. People usually die within 1 to 18 days of having symptoms and being exposed. And the reason that I was bringing up before we started this story about the Gross Room podcast that we had prior to Mother Knows Death is because we talked about a case a couple years ago about a saline rinse that someone was using to clear their sinuses. So you know that what we call it douche. I always say that to the kids. I'm going to douche your nose because it's like
Oh my God.
pushing it through. But it's because the person was using unfiltered tap water and the amoeba was in the tap water and they shoved it right up into their nose. It got into their brain and it killed them.
Oh, that was with the neti pot, right?
Yeah, it's like a neti pot or the squeezy thing or whatever. But that's why they're always say that you should use distilled water with those things because.
Or boil it.
Or boil it, exactly, because you really should not. You don't want to put an infection like that or an organism like that right into your nose because it's a direct route to your brain.
This just makes me so upset.
It is. And it's, the thing is that most of the time, whenever I kind of skeeve water parks in general, they're just, I don't know what it is about them. It's just that the smell, all the people, but usually I guess the strong smell is a good thing because it's killing a lot of the different organisms in this case. But there's so many times that you go to these ones when you're just on vacation or whatever and you want to bring the kids and you're like, these places are so sketchy. They can't possibly be doing things right. And but even so, even if you're doing everything right, there's plenty of these splash pads all over the place because they're like the hottest thing now. I see them in cities. I see they really started gaining popularity when they weren't like a thing ever when you were a kid. And then now with my second batch of kids, it's a thing, and it's the water settling there and fresh water because when they're using water for those types of fountains, it's like straight up tap water. It's not they're not using chlorinated water for those things, right? So
yeah,
I guess even if these people were doing all the right things, I guess it could still be a risk, but it's just so. Could you imagine having your kid get an infection that there's been 164 people have had in the past 40 or 50 years? That's just so freak, right?
No, it is. All right, there's a new cosmetic trend in town. It involves repositioning your ribs. Can't wait to have your take on this.
I kind of want this done, honestly.
Oh my God, I thought you were going to crush people for doing this because
really?
Yeah, because it doesn't seem like a wise choice to be moving things around.
Yeah, but I don't know. So the thing is called RibXcar, and it's this, I guess it's this newer procedure. It's minimally invasive, so they only go in with a needle and there's very small incisions, and they use ultrasound guide to be able to see what they're doing underneath of the skin. And they essentially are, this is what I've gotten from it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like they're creating these minute rib fractures, not enough to cause any kind of problem with your skeletal structure because they're only doing it in the false ribs or the floating ribs, which aren't attached to, they're not they're not creating what you would consider to be the cage around your ribs that are really protecting your thoracic organs. They're just ones that are on the side in the front that are minimally protective, I would say. They're not the ones that come straight off your backbone and go to your sternum. So these are like just the little extra ones on the side. So what they're doing is they're creating these small fractures. So when they break the bone and you wear a corset over the next couple of weeks and months when they're healing, the bones will basically heal in the bent position in which you're putting them in. And they're saying that they've done studies on it with people that have had it from before and after that have visible differences. Most people are happy with it. It's 2 to 3 weeks of recovery. I mean, it costs a shit ton of money, obviously, because every plastic procedure does. But it says that the pain is tolerable. It just seems like I think we covered a couple months ago about a woman who had her ribs surgically removed to take in her waist, and that is a very serious surgery that's very strenuous, and this is a little bit different. You're not removing the ribs, you're keeping them in the same place. You're just kind of moving them in a little bit.
But doesn't that affect your organs? And I don't know, isn't there all these problems with corsets because they're like jamming your organs up in places they shouldn't be and smushing them together?
I'm sure that there could be, depending on, but the corset is more of a long-term constriction of the organs. You're talking years of constriction of the ribs and the organs, whereas this is just when you break the ribs and then you put the corset on just for a couple of months, it's just so they heal into that position, but then you don't wear the corset anymore. It's kind of like, let's say, for example, when you have braces when you're a kid, like the braces are like moving the teeth around, but then you use the retainer to like keep them in the place.
Yeah, but that's your teeth. That's not like vital.
No, but I'm saying it's a similar thing. Like you're moving it and then you're just like having them heal kind of in a certain place.
I don't know. I think I understand.
I mean,
what
like,
you're
listen,
saying.
The reason that I say that I want this is because I feel like my ribs are just like, they're so prominent. I don't even know if what I'm considering, because my ribs in the front are really like the most prominent ones. They just stick out so far, and I'm always like, God, if this wasn't here, like my waist would be so much smaller. But
oh my God, who cares?
I don't care. It's just one of my things. I would never really get this done, of course, unless anyone wants to offer it to me, then I might consider. But it's low. It's not as invasive as removing your ribs for sure. And I mean, there's obviously going to be increased chance of infection and everything that comes with any procedure, but it seems like there's a lot of positive outlooks from what I've seen from medical papers written about it.
Yeah, I guess I'm just saying, like, I understand that you're saying it's a minimally invasive procedure, but I feel like adjusting anything in your body has potential for complications.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's cosmetic surgery is like that in general. I mean, like it's a risk you take to look better. Like that's what people are doing. So I definitely think this is like way more awesome than having actual ribs removed, because when you have them removed, not only is I've heard it's excruciating pain and recovery, but on top of that, you don't even have that protection anymore from those bones, whereas you still have the protection here. They're just bent a little bit differently.
I don't know. So they're saying it costs upwards of $20,000. So I guess if this is something that interests you, it's the latest trend. But I don't think I'll consider it. You clearly are considering it for some reason.
I just, listen, I've been reading about this all morning and I'm just interested in it. It just sounds interesting. That's all.
Oh my God. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Please don't forget to join our 1 million download giveaway. And if you have a story for us, please email it or send us a message on Instagram.
See you guys later in the week. Thank you for listening to Mother Knows Death. As a reminder, my training is as a pathologist assistant. I have a master's level education and specialize in anatomy and pathology education. I am not a doctor and I have not diagnosed or treated anyone, dead or alive, without the assistance of a licensed medical doctor. This show, my website, and social media accounts are designed to educate and inform people based on my experience working in pathology so they can make healthier decisions regarding their life and well-being. Always remember that science is changing every day and the opinions expressed in this episode are based on my knowledge of those subjects at the time of publication. If you are having a medical problem, have a medical question, or are having a medical emergency, please contact your physician or visit an urgent care center, emergency room, or hospital. Please rate, review, and subscribe to Mother Knows Death on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get podcasts. Thanks.